Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at AI chatbots.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, so it seems like
That's a hot topic.
every tech company is saying that theirs is like the best and the most advanced and all
Yeah,
that.
so much hype.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to try to cut through all that
Yeah,
with your stack of research and figure out what's actually going on.
right. Like, what matters?
Yeah,
What should we even be looking at?
exactly. And for, keeping up with AI is important.
For sure.
Whether it's for your job or for investing or just making sense of the world.
Absolutely.
Like this deep dives is going to give you all the info you need.
Yeah, we'll break down, like, who are the big players?
Right.
What are they saying, and what should we cautious about?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's jump right in. One of the articles that you found talks about Alibaba
Oh, yeah.
and their new chatbot, Qwen 2.5 Max,
Uh-huh.
and they say that it's better than both DeepSeek's model and ChatGPT.
Okay.
Now, you probably already know about ChatGPT.
Most people do, I think.
It can write different kinds of creative text formats, but DeepSeek might be a little bit newer.
Yeah, DeepSeek's a Chinese company,
Oh.
and they've been getting some attention because people are saying that their model is just as good as ChatGPT, but way cheaper.
Wow.
So that's gotten a lot of people interested.
So Alibaba is basically like, hey, everyone look at us.
Right.
Our chatbot is the biggest and the best and the strongest.
Right, like, hold my Tsingtao.
Exactly.
Watch this.
But then the Motley Fool, one of your expert sources,
Yeah.
is telling us to, like, be careful.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Just because a company says that their AI is the best doesn't mean it's actually true.
Right,
And they often pick specific benchmarks where they did well,
right.
but those might not show how it actually works in the real world.
So how do we cut through all that noise? Like, what should we be paying attention to?
Well, performance is important, obviously,
Right.
but it's not the only thing. It's
Yeah.
like, would you drive a car that's really fast,
Okay.
but has no brakes?
No,
Probably not the same with AI. We got to look at the whole picture.
that's a great analogy.
Pretty bad.
And speaking of the whole picture, let's talk about privacy.
Okay.
Remember that article you found about DeepSeek's model being banned in some countries?
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It shows that people are worried about data and privacy.
Yeah.
Like, is the Chinese government going to be able to see people's data?
Right. Imagine if all your chatbot conversations,
Oh, wow, yeah.
all your questions, all your information could be seen by a government.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, that's the kind of risk we're talking about.
Right.
So privacy is definitely something to keep in mind when we're looking at companies like DeepSeek.
Totally.
And that brings us to another important point.
Okay.
Integration.
Uh-huh.
It's great to have a powerful AI chatbot, but if it's hard to use or if it doesn't fit in with your work,
Totally.
then it's not that useful.
Yeah, it's like having a supercomputer that you can only use with dial-up.
Right.
It's all about how smoothly you can use it in your life.
Okay, so like Microsoft's Copilot, for example,
Oh, yeah, good example.
it's built into Microsoft Office.
Right.
So it makes those everyday tasks easier and faster.
Exactly. It might not be the coolest chatbot,
Right.
but it's really helpful for a ton of people because it's integrated so well.
Yeah, it just works.
Yeah.
And speaking of big companies,
Yeah.
we can't forget about Alphabet, which is Google's parent company.
Right. They're huge.
They have a big advantage because they're so big in search and video.
Yeah, with Google Search and YouTube.
Right, exactly. So they could put AI into those platforms and reach billions of users.
Right. It's a total game changer.
So it's not just about having the best chatbot.
Right.
It's about the companies that can actually use AI in their existing systems.
Exactly. They could win in the long run.
Yeah, that's something for you to remember.
Definitely. It's about looking past the hype and seeing how AI fits into the company's whole plan.
Yeah, good point.
Thanks.
So we talked about performance and privacy and integration.
Right. Those are the big ones.
Now let's think about you as an investor.
Okay.
If you're looking at all this AI stuff and you want to make some money, how do you pick the right companies?
Yeah, that's the tough part, right? I think the most important thing is don't get caught up in the hype
Yeah.
about one specific product.
Yeah.
Like, don't just chase the best chatbot.
Okay, so don't just jump on the bandwagon because everyone's talking about it.
Exactly. Look at the actual company behind the technology.
Okay.
Do they have a good history? Are they doing well financially? Do they have a plan for how AI fits into their business?
So it's like betting on the jockey, not just the horse.
Yeah, exactly. Like, think about Alibaba, Alphabet, and Microsoft.
Right.
They're all solid companies with lots of different businesses.
Right.
And they've been innovating for a long time.
Yeah.
They're not just going to disappear if their chatbot isn't the absolute best right now.
So it's about looking at the bigger picture.
Right, the long game.
Okay, that makes sense.
And here's another thing to think about.
Okay.
How are AI chatbots going to affect society as a whole?
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's still early, but we're already seeing changes in
Yeah.
customer service and
Yeah.
healthcare, education, entertainment, like all sorts of stuff.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah,
Like, they're changing how we interact with the world.
absolutely. I mean, I use them all the time for simple things, like
Right.
checking the weather, setting reminders.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just the beginning.
Right, as they get smarter, they're going to be able to do so much more.
So what are some other ways they might change our lives in the next few years?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What about the workplace? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, that's a big one. AI chatbots could automate a lot of jobs,
Okay.
like customer service reps, data entry clerks, even some legal work.
So some jobs might go away?
Yeah, but new ones could be created too.
Right. It's not just about AI replacing humans.
Exactly. It's about how we can work together with AI.
To be more efficient.
Right, to be more productive. You know, for you, that means thinking about how to learn new skills so
Okay.
you can stay ahead of the curve.
So it's not about being afraid of AI.
No.
It's about using it to our advantage.
Exactly. Think about it like the printing press.
Okay.
It changed how information was shared,
Yeah.
but it also created new industries.
Right. The same thing happened with the internet.
Right. AI is just the next big change.
Okay, I like that way of thinking about it. So what are some examples of how AI chatbots are being used in new ways?
Well, you mentioned healthcare earlier.
Yeah.
One really promising area is using them to give people basic medical information.
Okay.
Like imagine a chatbot that can answer your questions about symptoms or medications.
Okay.
Or even help you book a doctor's appointment.
That would be amazing.
Right, especially for people who live far away from hospitals.
Right, or people who have trouble getting to the doctor.
Exactly. It could make healthcare accessible to everyone.
Wow.
And AI chatbots are also being used in education.
Oh, I have some teachers in my family. I should tell them about this.
Yeah, they might be interesting.
What are they doing with chatbots in education?
Well, think about a chatbot that can be like a personal tutor.
Okay.
It can give students one-on-one help and feedback.
Okay.
And it can adapt to each student's learning style and pace.
That's incredible. It could change how we learn.
Right, and it could help with the teacher shortage, too.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
So there are lots of potential benefits, but we also have to talk about the risks.
Right. Like, what are some of the concerns with AI chatbots?
Well, like any powerful technology, it can be misused.
Okay.
Like, it could be used to spread misinformation or even manipulate people.
Oh, wow. That's a scary thought.
Yeah, like we've seen how social media can be used for that.
Yeah.
So we need to be careful and develop safeguards
Okay.
and educate people about the dangers.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about how we use it.
Exactly, and the ethical considerations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We need to make sure that AI is being developed with humans in mind.
So prioritizing ethical stuff alongside the technical stuff.
Exactly. We can't just let the technology do whatever it wants.
We have to guide it in the right direction.
Right.
This has been a really interesting conversation.
It has.
And I'm sure our listener wants to hear more about these ethical considerations.
Definitely, there's a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, it's a complex issue, but we have to address it head on.
Absolutely.
We've been talking about all the amazing things AI chatbots can do, like how they could change industries and make things more efficient,
Right.
and even improve healthcare and education.
It's pretty exciting stuff.
It is, but like you were just saying, there's another side to all of this.
Yeah.
The potential downsides, the risks, the unintended consequences.
We got to be realistic.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that keeps popping up in your research is this idea of algorithmic bias.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Can you explain that to our listener?
Sure. Algorithmic bias is when an AI system, like a chatbot, makes decisions that are unfair to certain groups of people.
Okay.
And it usually happens because the data that was used to train the AI was already biased.
So it's like garbage in, garbage out. If you train an AI on bad data, you're going to get bad results.
Right. And the problem is bias can be really subtle.
Okay.
It might not be obvious at first.
Right.
But if we're not careful, we could end up with AI systems that just make existing societal biases even worse.
And that's a scary thought, because what if we start using these systems to make important decisions?
Yeah.
Like who gets hired or who gets a loan or even criminal justice decisions.
Right. Those biases could have a huge impact on people's lives.
So we need to be really aware of this issue
Totally.
and demand transparency from these companies that are developing these AI systems.
Absolutely. We need to know how they're training these systems, what data they're using, and what they're doing to try and reduce bias.
So it's not just about the technology.
Right.
It's about the people behind it and the choices they're making.
Exactly.
The values that they're putting into these systems.
It all comes back to that human-centric approach we were talking about earlier.
Right. We can't just let the technology run wild.
We got to be in control.
We need to make sure it's being used for good.
Absolutely.
So algorithmic bias is one big concern. What are some other potential risks we should be thinking about?
Well, one that people talk about a lot is job displacement.
Right.
As AI chatbots get smarter, they're going to be able to do a lot of jobs that humans are doing now.
And that's going to have a big impact on the workforce.
For sure, a lot of people are worried about that.
And it's not just blue-collar jobs.
Nope.
AI is starting to do white-collar jobs, too.
Exactly. We're seeing it in law, finance, even journalism.
Wow.
And it's just going to keep getting more advanced.
So what does this mean for our listener?
That's a good question.
How can they prepare for a future where AI is everywhere?
Well, I think the most important thing is to focus on skills that are uniquely human,
Okay.
like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence.
Those are the skills that AI can't really replicate.
Right. Those are going to be the most valuable skills in a future where AI is doing a lot of the routine work.
So it's not about trying to beat AI.
No.
It's about working with it.
Exactly. Find ways to use its strengths to help us.
I like that a future where AI helps us be more human.
That's a great way to put it.
This has been an amazing deep dive into the world of AI chatbots.
It has.
We've had about the technical stuff, the good stuff, the bad stuff, and even the ethics.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but hopefully our listener feels like they understand this whole AI chatbot thing a lot better now.
I hope so.
And they feel ready to navigate this crazy world of AI.
For sure, it's changing so fast.
It is. So remember, as you see new chatbots, new claims, new developments,
Right.
keep asking those critical questions. How does this affect me?
Yeah.
How is this being used?
Good questions.
What does this mean for the future?
Those questions will help you make sense of it all.
Thanks for joining us.
They're the fun.
And keep exploring the amazing world of AI.